Welcome back to the pregame show. It's the middle game of the series between the RoughRiders and the Springfield Cardinals, and I'm joined by the Rangers rehabbing designated hitter Lance Berkman. Lance, thanks for your time today. First game in Frisco yesterday, a couple games in Round Rock before that. Base hit last night is the DH. How does your timing feel up there at the plate?
Well, it feels pretty good. You never know after taking about a month off how you're going to feel. And first game back in Round Rock, it felt like I'd never left. So I'm sure that there's going to be some ups and downs yet, but I feel all in all like I'm ready to go.
We've already been at double digits here with Major League rehabbers in Frisco this season. Talking to some of the guys that have come through here, they say playing in the field, yeah, it matters, but that's like riding a bicycle. You know your assignments. Obviously for you, that's not really a concern anymore. You're just as a designated hitter. The guys talk about how important it is to get their plate appearances, to get their timing. You've been through this. You've gone through the rehab process. Do you feel like a rehab assignment really gives you a sense of what the environment is like and what the adrenaline is like at a Major League plate appearance?
No, and I think that the effectiveness of a rehab assignment is largely dependent on the time of year that your injury occurs and the length of time that you've been out. So, for example, if you just miss 2 weeks and it's middle of July or early August, you don't need a rehab assignment. I mean, you can jump right back in. But as you get hurt early in the season where you don't have a lot of at-bats, or when you're on the DL for an extended period of time, it helps just to have 3 or 4 games to get a feel for being in the batter's box again. But there's a reason that this is Double-A and there's AAA, and then the big leagues, the quality of the competition is not nearly what it is at the Major League level. So that doesn't give you a real accurate reading on where you are in terms of your performance.
You talk about being comfortable in the box, though. Is there a moment on a rehab assignment where it clicks for you, or is it just sort of a gradual process getting back there?
I mean, that's a tough question to answer. I mean, most times with hitting, it just – as long as I'm seeing the ball, that's all I care about. The first at bat I stepped in there, I was seeing it fine. So it's one of those things where, you could spend 4 or 5 weeks down here and never get to feel comfortable, or it could be after the first at bat. It's just one of those things that you have to experience it to know. And if you're not feeling comfortable, that doesn't mean that you wouldn't go up to the big leagues and be effective. So really, just kind of a crapshoot with the rehab assignment.
Here with Lance Berkman, you've had pretty successful rehab appearances for the most part over your career. It's not always the case. We've seen a lot of guys struggle here. Really, Mitch Moreland was the only one that came down here and swung the bat well. Is there something about it about your personality that makes it kind of easy just to come into any environment and be successful?
Well, I mean, it's a small sample size, so if you have a couple bad at-bats that can have a poor reflection, or if you feel pretty good and you happen to get a couple good pitches to hit, it just depends. For me, I just, like I say, I go up there, I don't try to do too much. I really am just trying to see the ball, and I know that this is not a permanent thing, and so that helps, kind of take some of the pressure, I guess, of performing off. And after you've done a few of them, you kind of get used to coming into a different environment and performing.
According to a lot of media reports out there, some surprise that you're even here, some back and forth conversation about whether or not you're going to hang it up and stop playing or try to make it back. When you were mulling over the decision, what was it that really decided to make you say, you know what, I'm going to try to give it another shot and come back?
Well, I just felt like, given the state of affairs with our team, one of the areas where we have been a little bit deficient is offensively, and I felt like I owed it to the Rangers organization and to the guys that if I could help in any way, that I should try to do so. And physically, I was never really a doubt in my mind that I could be well enough to get back on the field. Part of me was just questioning how effective I was going to be when I got on the field, and that remains to be seen. So this is a step in that process, and so far I feel pretty good, and we'll see how it goes from here.
Going back to your minor league days a little bit back in the 90s, you didn't spend a lot of time there, less than 3 seasons in the minor leagues, but before you got called up by the Astros. Does being back in a minor league environment bring back any old memories from your days in the Houston system?
Well, it makes me thankful that I didn't spend a whole lot of time here. It's a different environment. There's no substitute for a major league environment. The adrenaline that you get, the quality of the facilities. I mean, all that stuff. But at the time, when you're a kid coming up, you don't really even recognize it. It's where you are, and your teammates are who they are. And but having the hindsight and the perspective now to look back on it, it definitely. The one thing I salute guys who are older guys that come down to the minor leagues and actually play here, play in AAA or even AA, like with Kyle McClellan, to have an opportunity to get back to the big leagues, because I'm sure I could do it.
Are there any memories from your minor league days that stick out as ones, kind of crazy stories, anything that happened that, bus broke down, anything like that, that's kind of minor league baseball, and that was my experience?
Well, we got, there's always those long bus ride stories where crazy things happen. But I remember one of the best memories I had was we won the AAA World Series in 1998, which I don't even know if they have it anymore. But at that time, it was the inaugural AAA World Series, and we beat Buffalo, which at the time was a Cleveland Indians affiliate for the championship. And that was a lot of fun and kind of your first exposure to playoff atmosphere type baseball.
Here with Lance Berkman, Rangers rehabbing DH. Your time with the Rangers, you had to transition to the DH, playing mostly in the National League in your career. Really just your time with the Yankees when you were traded in 2010 that you served primarily as a DH. What has that transition been like for you on a day-to-day basis, trying to get ready to play each day?
It's fine. I mean, it's really not that big of a difference other than you just don't go out there and play defense. I still approach my at-bats the same way, and there's not that much that requires adjusting to. Really, more than anything else, it's the new league and trying to learn some different pitchers, especially the relievers who you hadn't seen before. And so being in the division, once you get 2 or 3 times around, seeing the different teams, you kind of get a feel for the opposing team's pitching staffs, and that's taken the longest time. That's required the most, adjustment.
You had an inning like it last night, a couple innings that were long innings where the defense is out there for a long time. Are those tough when you're sitting on the bench and you can't make any sort of impact in the game or really be involved?
I actually like it because that means I'm not out there on my feet, twiddling my thumbs, waiting for the pitcher to start throwing strikes. But, that's one of those things that I actually enjoy about the DH is you don't get caught in those long innings, or if you have to play extra innings, you don't have the wear and tear on your legs. And so there's a reason why guys, when they get older, have the DH role to fall back on, because it's hard to be out there for those long innings and those extra inning games, and the ability to kind of stay off your feet is nice.
One last thing I want to ask you about, the Rangers media guide mentions that you learned how to switch hit by with a hanging tire in your backyard when you were a kid. Now, you're one of the best switch hitters of all time by most statistical categories. How did that come about? Was that your own decision? Was there someone that prodded you to do that? And I mean, were you just hacking away at it until you figured out, how to swing comfortably from both sides of the plate?
Well, my dad is the one that started me switch hitting, and really the tire was a drill that he used to help build strength in your swing and coordination with your hips and your hands. And so, the mechanical aspect of it is he just turned me around and said, hey, you're going to hit left-handed, and he would throw to me. And we took a lot of batting practice, and then in order to develop strength, like I said, I hit that tire hanging from a tree, and my dad actually got that drill from an old scout. He was a high school player, and a scout came up to him and said, if you want to develop your power, get a tire, hang in a tree, and hit it 50 times. And so I started doing that from both sides, and I think it's really helped me. It helped me at that time really learn how to swing with power and with coordination.
When's the last time you swung against the tire?
Oh, it's been a while for sure. I've demonstrated it a time or two recently, so I guess it hadn't been that long.
Anybody pick it up as a big tip, that a name we might recognize that you gave that tip to?
I don't know. That's a good question. I've talked to kids here and there, so and then you lose track of them. Obviously, you don't know how they're doing. So maybe one day somebody will surface and say, that I had an impact on them.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for your time. Good luck, and hopefully back in Arlington real soon.
All right. Thank you.
That was Lance Berkman. We'll be back with more here on the Frisco RoughRiders Baseball Network.